Lord Iblik. Dr. Steve, are we concerned that all BRICS members have religious beliefs and traditions that are historically hostile towards Christianity and Israel joining together with that as well? God bless. Well, it's good. So Lord Nimblick is bringing up an excellent point here. We're increasingly moving from geopolitics to theopolitics. And that's because the modern age, if classical civilization society, the society upon which Europe is founded, the society upon which America was founded, and so forth, is like a triangle. I like to say it's like a Christmas tree. So it starts with the sacred, the absolute, the unquestionable on top. Nature's God, as it were. The virtue traditions that are necessary for the civic virtue, which is necessary for a free people, for a self-governing people. It starts with religious traditions on top, and then you have your political class of some kind, legal class, whatever. You have some kind of military class, and then you have your mercantile, your merchant class, I should say. Mercantilism is different, but your merchant class, your artisans, and so forth. That's just kind of the way it's structured. What the modern secular globalist age did is it turned that upside down. So now the technocrats are on top, right? The mercantilists, the technocrats, and the politicians, they're just bought and paid for by these guys. But they're on the top, and the sacred is completely thrown away. And so 19th century international relations, 20th century international relations was all about how secular states, how politics interrelates to one another. So the globalist idea was to make everybody's politics the same, liberal politics all across the board, corporate economy, corporate capitalism all across the board, woke liberal values all across the board. What the BRICS countries are basically doing is they're turning that world back upside down as we go from a modern age to a postmodern age. So the sacred is back now. Russian Orthodox, neo-Orthodox Russia, neo-Confucianist China, which that's what President Xi basically says. They're not communists. They're Confucian now, the mandate of heaven. Though it's a Tianjiang concept of the mandate of heaven. Neo-Hindu nationalist India, neo-Ottoman Turkey, theocratic Iran, monarchical Saudi Arabia and UAE. So BRICS represents a coalition made up of multiple different political systems, but they're all united by common economic concerns, but also common concerns for the centrality of culture at the heart of everything. And religion is the cult of culture. So I'm just to give Lord Niblick his full paradigm there. So are we concerned? Well, we could be, but you do have Eastern Orthodox Christianity is very friendly to Islam, generally speaking, and geopolitically speaking. You're just seeing that with Russia today, neo-Orthodox Russia, getting along very well with Iran, very well with Saudi Arabia, very well with UAE. Ambiguous with Turkey, but that's just because Turkey and Erdogan's policy is, by its nature, plays the West and the East off of each other. So it'll be interesting to see how Israel fits into that, no question. Now, if you were able to bring some peace between Saudi Arabia and Iran, Shiite and Sunni, it's not as fundamental as the problems between the Middle East and Israel. Remember, they just see Israel as a Western shill. They just see Israel as a satellite for Washington, D.C. Okay, that's all they see. If Israel can piss off Washington, D.C. enough, as they've been doing with their theocratic moves of reforming their judiciary system in the Knesset, if they can do that, perhaps they can find some kind of middle ground with Hezbollah to their north, or with Saudi Arabia or UAE, or in the way that they've been able to with Egypt. So we're going to have to see. But theopolitics is going to have its own dynamics, no question, its own unique dynamics.
But first, gang, I got to tell you, I was utterly shocked when I was recently shown just how easy it is to access the deed to my house, and not just access it, but change it. I mean, if you don't know, the deed to your home is the only document that proves you own it. But the problem is, so that the deeds to all our homes are now online, and criminals are free to find our deeds, forge our signatures, refile as the new owner of our homes, take out tons of loans using our home's equity, and then stick us with the debt. And by the way, if you think homeowners insurance is going to bail you out, you got another thing coming. But that's where our good friends over at Home Title Lock come in. Gang, they're absolutely amazing. Home Title Lock gives you the peace of mind that the deed to your home is absolutely and completely protected. Click on that link below right now and use promo code Turley Talks. And all you have to do is enter your address for your no obligation home title scan to see if you've already been a victim of deed theft. I mean, that's $100 value, absolutely and totally free if you use my promo code Turley Talks. Gang, don't wait for the worst to happen only to regret that you didn't do something about it when you could have. Click on that link below right now and secure your home today.
All right, Fraser, is it time to consider forming a union of the Anglosphere with the BRIC nation forming a new currency and a new trading bloc? Well, it's being talked about, Fraser. I see. Pound sterling. I'm not pounds. Sorry, Canadian. Churchill actually wrote a whole book on it, right? The history of the English-speaking people, and it was very popular, as I understand, in Britain in the 40s and 50s, the idea of forming sort of a formal Anglosphere. At the time, Americans were just totally uninterested. This is when we were beginning to be just kind of in our own little world. Well, we just thought we were the world at that point, which in many ways we were post World War II. You know, with China completely poor, Japan decimated, Europe decimated, Russia decimated. I mean, you know, we were it. And so that's how we brought in the unipolar world. Well, it was bipolar with the Cold War up to 1991, and then the unipolar world, which is now waning. It's BRICS. I think this week was, in many respects, we'll look back as sort of the official end of the unipolar world and beginning of multipolar world. So yes, no, I'm with you. I mean, with the rise of civilization states, again, as economic powers become very, very strong and very, very big, size matters. And it's hard to fight back when you're just kind of a tiny little nation, a sort of a tribalized nation, or just even a small civic nationalist nation. So the organic dynamics are moving in the direction of some kind of Anglo-civilizational configuration. Now, what it looks like, we'll have to see. But definitely something akin to like a BRICS for the Anglosphere, something like that. Definitely, I could see that. I mean, we already have it as a default, but not formal. And then we'll have to overcome some real differences too. I mean, you know, having studied in Britain, I mean, my family is British. My father's side of the family is from Oxford. So my grandfather was the first full-time R&D chemist for Roman Haas in Philadelphia. So he came over from London by boat, landed in Philadelphia, and raised his family and was buried there. But as a kid, I always had a very, very strong sense that my homeland was England. And my maternal grandparents would get very upset at me because they came from Ireland, the Cronins. But they came in the late 19th century during the gold rush. So the disconnect from Ireland, it wasn't as immediate as it was with my grandparents being from Oxford. So, but so when I went to England, it felt like being home. It really did. My first time I went to England was in 2009. And it really felt like I was home. But I also had the sense of, wow, things are really different here. The Brits do things differently than the Americans. Or even when I spent time in Canada and just even on the border in Niagara on the Lake, you know, there's a sense, you know, it's different. It's got its own thing. Or Aussies are definitely, and vice versa. People come to the States and they're like, you guys in the States do things really different, you know. So we'd have to, things like that would have to be, I think, not necessarily worked out, but just respected and understood going in. And all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I think we're moving towards civilizational blocks. That's the way the world's getting restructured. Thank you, Fraser.